big one today. Terry McLaurin and Adam Peters talking. Are they finally making progress on a new contract for the all-pro receiver? Is it time to panic about the offense, or should we be relieved that the defense is finally doing something productive for the team's Super Bowl chances? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we are here to talk about everything involving the Washington Commanders. As you can tell, I am fired up because we got reports from a team scrimmage today. We got some real tangible notes. Terry McLaurin making more waves. Yes, I have talked about Terry a lot. Yes, there's been a lot of boring updates. We got something concrete today. If that doesn't deserve a like on this video, then I don't know what does. Guys, if you want to support me, you want to support the channel, you're happy to get news about Terry, you're happy about the Commanders, whatever, hit that like button. That's the number one way you can support me. Also, hit that subscribe button so you're a part of this community and you get to check out my daily uploads with everything there is to know about the Commanders. Take a deep breath here. Let's talk about Terry McLaurin. This whole contract saga has seemed to push the two sides farther and farther and farther away. I made the analogy that it's like a game of tug of war, and eventually the rope is going to be pulled so taut that there's nothing in the middle. There's no give. You can't go one way or the other. You're just pulling the rope until it frays, and finally it separates. It snaps in half. We got some progress today. Now, this is all optics. I want to be very clear. We have not heard a direct report or confirmation of this side offered this, a new figure. But Terry McLaurin and Adam Peters were out on the practice field talking to each other. This sounds like a very small detail. Totally get that. This is the first time that they have been seen talking publicly in months. Certainly the first time since in the preseason. I don't remember it happening during training camp. They were actually out there talking. It looked like a civil conversation. They weren't yelling at each other. There was no negative body language. I don't know what they said. Not a professional lip reader, but this does seem to indicate small progress. I know that the Commanders have reportedly been reluctant or unwilling to go to Terry's 32, 33 million average annual value sort of asking range. Terry's been steadfast in wanting to get paid at least $30 million. Again, this is all according to reports. But Terry went out in a Commander's hoodie. He watched the entire practice. None of this show up after practice, do a little lap of the facility and sign some autographs. None of that. No show for the cameras. Not talking to his agent. Just went out, watched the scrimmage, talked to Adam Peters. I consider this progress. And I know that there are a lot of people in the Commanders Nation who are fed up with Terry. And I'm not saying that your feelings are invalid. This isn't a case of me rubbing it in your face. Please don't take that impression. But we should all agree that with better players on the field, the Commanders have a better chance to win the Super Bowl. We'll get the financial numbers. If a contract gets worked out, we can then discuss, was it worth what we paid for him to get him? Could we have traded him for draft picks that are more valuable than the contract figure? We can have those debates when the numbers come out. But all we can talk about right now is this is a direct sign of what seems to be progress, and that is good news. Because as I've said a million times, at this point, I don't care what the resolution is. I just want there to be a resolution because time is of the essence. The 53-man roster is due in 15 days. The season is less than 1 month away. Whether you're cutting Terry, whether you're trading him, whether you're extending him, whether you're tagging him, whatever. You can't tag him this year, but point being, whatever the resolution, it has to happen soon. And it feels like today we took a big step closer to that. Now, let's talk about the actual scrimmage. So it was Team Burgundy versus Team Gold. Team Gold was mostly the first team defense. Team Burgundy, mostly the first team offense. Wrote down some standout players here just so you can get an idea. I'm not going to read you all 80, 90 people that participated, but the Gold team included Mike Sainristil, Marshawn Lattimore, Will Harris, Frankie Louvu, Trey Amos, Quan Martin, Von Miller, Tyler Owens, Jeremy Reeves, Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner, Jacob Martin, Dietrich Wise, Dorrance Armstrong, Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, and Eddie Goldman. Now, notable defensive players who I did not mention there. They did not have Cleveland Farrell. They did not have Noah Igbenogany. They did not have Percy Butler. And they did not have Sheldon Day. On the offensive side, or on the Burgundy side, rather, The offense included Jayden Daniels, Luke McCaffrey, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, Chris Moore, Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson Jr., Jaylen Lane, Zach Ertz, John Bates, and the entire starting offensive line. Omitted from that list, they did not get Ja'Cory Brooks, and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was not going to be on their team anyway, but he also did not participate today as he continues to nurse that shoulder injury he suffered in the preseason game. An injury that is not expected to hold him out. He's expected to be fine. By all accounts, he will be playing in the next preseason game. They just didn't want to throw him into something unnecessarily, so he did not practice today. Also pretty cool, it wasn't just the players who were divided, it was the coaching staff as well. Joe Witt Jr. and Cliff Kingsbury were the head coaches of their respective sides of the ball. The offensive play callers were Tavita Pritchard and Brian Johnson. The defensive play callers were Tommy Donatel and Jason Simmons. So, what actually happened out there at Ashburn today? Well, Dan Quinn, as he always does, started the day by giving a press conference. A lot of, I don't want to say unimportant details, but things that I didn't feel the need to mention in a video here. But one that I really wanted to. This is the only thing I'll say about Quinn's press conference, and then we'll jump into what happened during the scrimmage. But I keep hearing this name. And when coaches tell you something without directly telling you, you got to listen. So when you hear the name Jaylin Lane continue to pop up and people keep talking about how impressive he is, maybe it's something that you should write down. And maybe you should be expecting Jaylin Lane to be an important figure of this football team. He said that he had been really impressed by Lane in the slot. Him being Lane, Deebo Samuel, and Luke McCaffrey were the starting receivers with the Burgundy offense. So that's the offense with Jayden Daniels, Brian Robinson, and the starting offensive line. So without Terry McLaurin available, without Noah Brown available, the starting receivers were Luke, Lane, and Deebo. If the Commanders have full access to their starting receivers, I honestly still expect Lane to be in that mix. I think it would be Terry is the X, Deebo is the Z, and Lane in the slot. I think that's what you're going to get. And you're going to get Noah Brown being kind of the primary rotator. And I don't, he can play different spots. So I don't want to call him a backup because he can go to multiple positions. And then you'll get Luke McCaffrey after that. And whoever the sixth receiver is, Ja'Cory Brooks, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, Chris Moore, whoever it is, they will also be filling in at different spots. So what actually happened in this practice? Well, it was a very bad day for the offense by all accounts. Scott Abraham of 7 News DC said that the final score was 14-0 in favor of the Gold team. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was 2 touchdowns to none, because when they play these sort of games where the balls, you don't start possessions with a kickoff. You normally get it at like the 30, the 40-yard line, sometimes inside the red zone. Points are usually, or scoring drives are usually worth 2 to 3 points, somewhere in that region. And then you can try a 2-point conversion on top of that. So this 14-0, I don't assume that it does just mean 2 touchdowns to none, like I said, but it doesn't matter. The 14 side of that does not matter. What matters is the 0 side, because the starting offense, again, with Jayden and Deebo and all those guys, the offensive line, they didn't score today. Now, if you were to ask Commanders fans, hey, the defense is outperforming the offense, are you worried about the offense? Everyone would say no. The defense is still the concern. And that makes total sense, because we saw what the offense could be last year. And we know that the Terry situation is unsorted and Bill didn't play today. All of that is valid. As Dan Quinn pointed out yesterday, the offensive line isn't developing great chemistry because Brandon Coleman is out and Sam Cosmi is out. And Tunsil strained his groin the other day. Tunsil did play today, but point being, the offensive line, if you're not getting the reps together, you're not going to have that great chemistry. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's time to worry about the offense. Also, as a reminder, in these sort of environments, Jayden Daniels is not allowed to run the football. That's for his own safety, but also to work on the playbook, work on his comfort in the passing, get him to the point where he doesn't feel the instinctive need to run if his first couple of reads aren't open. And that his ability to run the football greatly opens up the Commanders' offense. So without that, of course, it's going to look a lot different, and you would expect the offense to take a step back. Now let's go into an actual breakdown. We got play-by-play from Grant Paulson of 106.7 The Fan. He wrote down the first 2 possessions here. So the first possession, 1st and 10 from the 35, it's a Mike Sainristil pass breakup, PBU on Deebo. Next play, Brian Robinson tackled for a 1-yard loss by Bobby Wagner. Then on third down, Daron Payne sacks Jayden Daniels. Not a real sack, but like a two-hand touch sort of deal. Blow the whistle, the play's dead because we're not sacking the quarterback. On the second possession, they started 1st and 15 at the 35. Another Sainristil PBU on KJ Osborne. Second down was a missed pass by Jayden. Third down was a pass to Luke McCaffrey for 12 yards. Luke got absolutely popped by Mike Sainristil at the end of that. I saw like 5 different reporters tweet that out, and they're only tweeting the highlight plays, so he must have got hit pretty hard. And then on 4th and 3, Daniels incomplete to Zach Ertz, coverage by Will Harris. Lionel Willingham of 106.7 The Fan doubled down on what I just said. He posts these great little 1 to 2 minute recaps after every practice. And in it, he said it was a really rough day for the offense. The receivers couldn't separate. That's something that we have been hearing all throughout training camp and the preseason. The defensive line got a lot of pressure, not just off the side, but also up the middle. It doesn't surprise me that they were okay on the Laramie Tunsil side of the piece, or on the side of the coin. But Josh Connolly Jr. did give up a pressure to Von Miller. Von got him with a very quick step. Dorrance Armstrong supposedly had a very good day. And the Gold defense was able to be disruptive up the middle, which again speaks to Brandon Coleman not being there, Sam Cosmi not being there, your 2 starting guards. And then also Nick Allegretti, Andrew Wiley playing new positions and developing or failing to develop the chemistry with the other starting members of the offensive line. So all of this adds up. According to John Keim from ESPN, another report about the defense looking really good. They got a lot of pressure. Said that the DBs covered very well. Shouted out Mike Sainristil and Dorrance Armstrong. And then he also said that Jeremy Reeves got a lot of time today with the ones, and he expects him to get heavy work during the regular season. Maybe not heavy, but he will actually get on the field on defense during the regular season versus just being a full-time special teamer. JP Finley, I saw double down on that, said Reeves got to work with the ones an awful lot today. And Lionel Willingham, who I mentioned earlier, also talked about Reeves getting on the field in a 3-safety look with Quan Martin, Will Harris, and Jeremy Reeves all on the field together, giving them a lot of range. Guys who have that special team sort of mindset, Reeves actually being a special teamer, where they are getting downhill and they're getting downhill to hit. But then they also have some coverage skills as well. A 3-safety look, knowing the Commanders loved to play out of their dime package last year, where they would have Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu in the middle of the field. Louvu often as a rusher in those situations. And then they had the 5 DBs. Well, with 3 safeties, I guess it would be something like, or with 6 DBs, excuse me, said 5. With 6 DBs, I guess it would be 3 corners, 3 safeties. So it would be Quan Martin, Will Harris, Jeremy Reeves, Marshawn Lattimore, Trey Amos, and Mike Sainristil, which theoretically does give you a lot of speed and a lot of coverage ability. It's going to depend heavily. Their ability to use that package will depend heavily on their ability to get after the quarterback. But by all accounts today, again, the pass rush was not the issue. And a lot of people sound very confident the Commanders will be able to get after their opposing quarterbacks. It's just a matter of, are they going to set themselves up in 3rd and long and have the ability to rush the passer by getting the stops on the running downs, the 1st and 10, the 2nd and 7. Can you get the stops there to set yourself up to pin your ears back and get after the quarterback? So what's the overall debrief from today? The offense looked really bad, but with some limiting circumstances. Again, no Terry, no Bill. Jayden can't run the ball. Offensive line has some injuries. So things should get better. Once again, I am encouraged by the defense playing well. I know they did not perform very well in the preseason game against the Patriots, and the joint practice supposedly wasn't great. Mike Sainristil specifically did struggle with Pop Douglas, and Lattimore gave up a touchdown to Kayshon Boutte, but it's just one practice. Let's move forward. Let's hopefully continue to hear good things about the defense, because we know what the offense can be. And if the defense can even get to average, a little above average, when you have an elite offense, that is a more sustainable model than the offense having to rely on these 4th quarter comebacks and 4th down conversion rate, a historic 4th down conversion rate, while the defense is one of the bottom 7 units in the NFL. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Again, a full breakdown on the Terry McLaurin update, a full review of everything there is to know about the Commanders practice scrimmage against one another, Burgundy versus Gold. Gold coming out on top 14-0. Jump down to the comment section. Let me know what you think of the McLaurin update. Also, what do you think about the offense? You more worried about the offense or encouraged by the defense? Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Hit the like button as well if you want to support me. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.